On this week's short attention span webinar, we play the game of what if.
My favorite question.
What if? What if? So here's the thing. This is kind of a good and a bad thing. When Kelly and I were talking before we hit the record button, we were talking about both sides of this. So number one, Kelly, what if you lost your top account? Now, I would guess that I'd say probably 75% of my customers have one major anchor account.
Yep.
All right. And I'll ask them this question because I got to tell you, the worst phone call that I get is the one that says, "Oh my gosh, Bill, I just lost my big account, and I've not done any prospecting for years."
Yeah, right.
And I got nothing. I hate getting that call. We've talked about that in the past. So, Kelly, why should I prepare for that now, and how do I prepare for that?
Well, I mean, okay, the real doom and gloom answer is because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sorry to say
right.
That we should all be acting as if it's going to happen to us, either through absolutely positively no fault of our own, acquisition, relocation to a foreign country, or they're going out of business.
Right.
And so, again, preparation being the key element here is, do you have 5 times whatever that revenue is? Do you have 5 times that in potential in your pipeline ready to start, hopefully already calling on, but that you're starting to call on to backfill that revenue sometime in the next 3 to 12 months? So again, it's acting as if it's going to happen and filling up the pipeline in that eventuality.
And by the way, neither one of us are saying, maybe I'm speaking for myself, it's okay to have one huge account.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, in 30 plus years of sales, there's been many times where I've had one monster, and what are you going to say? No.
Right.
You know, you roll with it with the knowledge that one day that wave is going to hit the beach. Now, let's look at the other side, okay? What if you doubled your business this year? Mm-hmm. You know, wow, nice problem to have, you say, right? Well, you know, you go from things were okay to I can't even breathe. I'm working, you know, crazy hours. And are you prepared for that?
And is the organization prepared for it? Is your CSR prepared for it? Is estimating prepared for it? Is production prepared for it? I'm willing to bet you that the owner of your company is going to say, absolutely. Of course we can handle it.
Bring it on.
But yeah, when the rubber meets the road, even if you doubled your business, that should not mean that you're working 12-hour days. Like, that should not be what it means.
And Kelly, you talked last week about co-opetition. You know, I think if you are the owner, you do want to have some backup on the presses just in case something comes in, even a huge order.
Right.
You know, we got this 1 million run that we've got to do, and it's going to push everything off to the side. You've got to have some contingency plans, even if it's a temporary thing. Now, it'd be nice to double your business. We all think, oh, we're going to get more presses in here. We're going to make a purchase. Or, gosh, you know what, Bill, never mind. It's not going to happen. Okay. But I think you do have to have a contingency plan for a sharp spike in business.
Right.
Now, the next one, Kelly. What if your key contact quit? I know this has happened to you. You've told me this has happened to you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Again, in a perfect world, you would see it coming and kind of be a part of it and know where they're going and follow along with them when they go. But they also could be retiring, or they could be going into a completely different industry. So the biggest point about something like this is to make sure that you are not in a silo with that organization, to make sure that your particular contact, you know his or her boss, you know his or her assistant, you know the people that sit on either side of him or her, and that you know multiple departments within that organization. Bill, you taught me to never leave a place without meeting somebody new every time you go.
Right.
And that's really, really, really good advice. That you, again, everybody knows you, they know what you do, and they know why you're so important to their organization. So if that isn't the case for you right now, put it on your to-do list. To make sure that's the case. You
want to get to know as many people, because we said this in the past, the 2 best things that you can hear a customer say to you. Number 1, do you work here?
Yeah.
And number 2, are we your only customer?
Right.
Those are great things to hear. When you've heard that, somebody recognizes the fact that you're spending a lot of time, a lot of attention. So get to know everybody you can. And then finally, what if your support system falls apart? What if your CSR quits? You know, now it's funny because in my situation, I've got an assistant, and she's been struggling with some family issues, And she was doing all this work for me, and all of a sudden, poof, gone.
Right.
And I'm thinking this is part of the reason why my office looks the way it does. I was telling Kelly, I got stuff everywhere, a lot of things going on because I've had to do all that stuff. I don't have a backup. I have people that can do it, but it's one of those things, Kelly, where I say it's going to take me longer to teach you how to do it than it would for me to do it myself.
Right.
You know. So
I think this again speaks to the strength of your institution. Is your team strong? Is the whole organization strong? Because your CSR should be able to go on vacation, but yeah, God forbid they leave. I know a lot of salespeople that wouldn't even be able to write up an order. You know, they wouldn't even know how to get things through. So that, again, if you're ready for it, if you hear some kind of rumblings going on that, something's happening, first of all, you want to make sure that your CSR is extremely happy with what they do, with their job and with what's going on so that doesn't happen. But again, retirements, somebody wins the lottery, that kind of thing. You want to make sure that you feel confident that your organization is in a position to keep things running smoothly so that the place doesn't hinge on the existence of one human being.
I think it was Hewlett-Packard that used to have based 10% of someone's pay on how well they've taught their job to somebody else. So that there was no one person who knew everything about one thing.
Yeah, that's
good.
One
thing. So if they lost them, that they would, the whole organization wouldn't fall apart. So,
right.
In any event. So, just some contingency plans for the good and the bad, and the ugly can take care of itself, I guess. But in case things go great, in case things fall apart, certainly you want to be ready for both of those. So Kelly, thank you for your words of advice today.
Thanks, Bill.
And we'll talk to you all next week in another short attention span webinar.